So when you guys were first sailing, how long did you guys do celestial navigation for then? It must have been quite
Up until
a while.
'96. Just because even though in maybe '92 the technology was there if you had the money.
For like sat nav and things.
Yeah, sat nav. When I was doing the Bermuda races on other people's boats, I was using sat nav, and I was using Loran C.
Loran C, that was the other one, yeah.
But I didn't have one on Wildcard
but
until '96.
But they used to hire you for Celestial.
Yeah, and a lot of people hired me for Celestial. A lot of people. My father told me, if you know Celestial navigation and you know Morse code, you'll never lack for a job. Well,
thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Dad.
Here you go.
I mean, both
for
of
the
us
next
still.
couple years.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are some of the other so obviously GPS was a revolutionary change, making sailing and navigation.
Well, it used to be
and money.
A lot easier.
ATMs.
Yeah.
ATMs.
Yeah. And what would happen is
money was such a hassle.
You have to carry
You
around.
have to carry around a lot of cash.
And I would write a story literally for $20.
We had a safe, full of cash on our
And
boat.
I'd be in, Georgetown, Guyana, and they'd send it to Georgetown, Bermuda, and then I'd say that's not right, and they'd send it to, Georgetown, Grand Cayman,
And you have a check in foreign currency, they charge you a lot of money to change it. So you have a $25 check, it costs $35 to change them.
So was he forced to trade a lot more than barter and things?
Well, there was that, and it was just so much more difficult to earn my living as a writer. But on the other hand, I had kind of indispensable skills. And we would sail into Bermuda, and there'd be 4 boats, or 6 boats, or 7 boats, and every one of those boats had, just the most remarkable people on them. Now we sailed into Bermuda, and there's 300 boats. And Carolyn rightly points out that there's still 7 boats in there with the most incredible people. But you got to find them.
Amongst the hundreds
of, And so we think of GPS as kind of, as something that changed our world completely. Because, a different type of person. I was just recently walking down a dock and I saw a fellow on a swan, an older swan, and I saw the owner pop his head up and I said, "Hey, great, you happen to know that it's Olin's 89th birthday, or 92nd birthday, I forget which one it was." And he said, "Who?" I said, "Olin Stevens, the fellow who designed your boat." He said, "Olin Stevens didn't design my boat." He says, "It's a swan." I said, "Well, yeah, it's a swan, but Olin Stevens did design your boat." He says, "No." I said, "Well, okay." I started to walk away. He said, "Well, hold on a second." He was getting mad. So he goes down below and finally brings the paper over and says, "Look, it's designed by S&S." So, these are different. Which stands for Sparkman Stevens. Now, from my mind, I grew up amongst sailors who wanted to know every single knot, who wanted to know the every single term. They would go aboard your boat and say, "That's a beautiful Krantz iron you have," and I'd say, "Well, gee, my gamut iron's made out of bronze, but that's Galvian." So, the Norman's Cross, all these archaic terms that perhaps people don't know today, we pride ourselves on that. We pride ourselves on our marlin spikemanship. If a guy didn't know how to tie a knot, he just didn't know how to tie a knot, and of course we did all of our own sewing. Carolyn, we can't get up now, but Carolyn made some beautiful bags, ditty bags, and we loved the ditty bag, and she made them by hand, and she gave them away 42 years ago for Christmas to select sailors, right?
Canvas bags.
They're just gorgeous. I have it around here somewhere.
It's in there.
And these things are so treasured, the way she made it with all the fancy rope work and stuff, that we just had a guest aboard the boat in Thailand, and they said, "I've got a gift," just before they were leaving, and they said, "I have a gift for you." And he re-gifted the custom ditty bag that she had made 42 years ago. Now it looks like crap because it's been, used as a ditty bag
as it should be.
for all this stuff. Yeah. So that was so cool. And those type of things, that type of tradition, knowing all the designers, knowing the sails, knowing the traditions, knowing the commands.
And knowing how to work on your boat.
Yeah, I definitely think things like that are a lost art. Like, I don't know how to use the sextant.
Yeah.
And
we've
it would be
probably
great
used
to do it, but
we used it on one passage when we
because
had somebody
was
on board that was doing their.
Well, of all the
They're
thousands
and we
of
used
people
to-
we met going around the world 3 times, we met one guy who was sailing around the world with a sextant.
Yeah.
And he had, he really wanted traditional. He had no engine. He had oars.
Yeah,
on his
Ruth
boat.
Avery.
I
Wonderful
do
guy.
think it also tends to make you a little bit on the lackadaisical side with your navigation if you can always tell exactly where you are, you know. And
Well, we
especially when
we
you see
recently
little
had a
boat on the-
situation where a fellow in New Zealand had a radar installed, and when they installed the radar, they chopped holes in the boat. And anyway, he ended up having water get into his boat and get into his electrical system, and basically the boat started shutting off. And he started panicking.
Yeah, but he was like a couple hundred miles from Fiji, like in the middle of nowhere.
Well, he was,
so,
I think he was maybe 500 miles away from Fiji when we first started talking to him.
somewhere.
So I was trying to talk him through this. I say, okay, well, just just keep track of your
He
DR.
said he had charts.
And he said, well, I don't know. I said, well, you have to mark a position. Take a guess. He's like, I don't know where I am. Well, wait a minute. You left New Zealand 3 days ago.
yeah,
how
how
fast
fast
did
did
you
you
even
even
go?
go?
Yeah,
in
how
what
fast?
direction?
So I was like, okay, you're 450 miles away from,
And how
New
fast
Zealand.
do you go?
And et cetera, et cetera. And so we started doing this, and
And so we were keeping track of it.
so I was keeping track of
He
him.
wasn't.
And he was like,
He was totally
he didn't,
freaked out.
he got totally freaked out. And at one point, he was fatigued.
But the boat was fine.
And he said, God damn it, Fatty, just tell me where I am.
Like, if I knew, man.
Hey, yeah, I mean, I'd gladly tell you where you are.
Actually, we did know pretty much where we did better than you did.
So it was pretty funny. And we use celestial navigation going to Bermuda. If I couldn't triangulate the stars, I just aim for 60 miles on one side of Bermuda, and then I'd run down that latitude, and then I'd bang a left. So these tricks, are so simple. And you don't even, to take a noon sight, you don't need, any tables or anything. And you don't even need to apply corrections if you just, take everything as minus 12. Anyway,
Do
However,
you guys still carry paper charts?
we still carry some paper charts, but we use electronics. I still carry my father's World War II sextant, but I haven't, had it.
Yeah,
The
we just
charts
have
take so much
and
more.
they're expensive and
And
they're hard to get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And we just have a large scale ocean chart, so
Yeah.
we can kind of know where we
Yeah,
are.
we
And
can
say,
still
well, we
keep
have to
that record.
sail in this direction for a
Yeah.
while, and we'll hit Africa.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
So do you think, over time, the romanticism has kind of been lost then? Because
Well,
of,
I think for some people it has. And for me to look at a person who owns a hunter, and doesn't know, he says, well, I parked the boat over there. Well, that's fine, you parked the boat over there, but he doesn't know what went into that rig. He doesn't know, I know the evolution of rigs. I know that bow shapes, I never forget a boat. I can be on your boat for 3 minutes and I never forget it. We were in Chicago, and a guy came up to me and said, I'd like to trade anchors. And he says, your anchor's way too big for your boat and my anchor's way too small, let's trade. And I said, well, gee, yeah, my anchor's worth $700 and your anchor's worth $200. I'll just sell my anchor and buy a dozen of yours. And he said, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, I'm serious. So I went off that evening and got drunk and came back, and my anchor was gone and his boat was gone. And I couldn't believe that another boater would do that. It was just incredible to me. So I went in search of him, and I searched quite a while because I really had never heard of a fellow yachtsman doing that. And I didn't find him. But a few years later, thousands of miles away, I'm sailing along in New Orleans. Yeah, this was in Chicago where I got ripped off. And actually it was in St. Petersburg, Florida. And all of a sudden I'm sailing along, there's this huge group of boats, like a marina, and I yell to Caroline, take the helm, son of a bitch, and I dive into the water, and I swim, I crawl up, start pounding on the hull, and this guy comes out of the boat, and he looks at me, takes one look at me, he says, holy shit, he says, take anything you want, and I'm like, you're not the guy. He's like, no, I bought this boat. And I realize it's filled with stolen merchandise. And you're like the fifth guy, and just take it. Give me anything you want.
People like come aboard and like punched him out.
Now,
what's yours? Take it.
Yeah, exactly. So now get this. I need, at this moment in my life, I need a couple of things. I need a job. I need a car. I forget what he needed. And he's like, I've got a car. You can borrow it. I know where you can get a job. He made a phone call and said, yeah, I had a job. And something else. So I got these three really important things from this guy, and he said, and take your anchor. I said, no, you keep the anchor. So it all was like this cosmic.
Sort of balance itself.
Yeah, the whole thing turned very positive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah, we're big believers in karma.
Yeah.
You can read more on Cap'n Fatty at fattygoodlander.com or do an author search on Goodlander, and that's FATTY, not fat with a PH.
My father came back from World War II, and he was very disillusioned with, the military and, war and everything like that. So he decided, he was a commercial artist, and he decided to take his family to Tahiti because they fuck like dogs there. And that was always the stated purpose, when everybody would ask us what we were doing.
Yeah.
Even as a 6-year-old, I'd say, "Oh, we're going to Tahiti because they fuck like dogs."
It shut people up.
It shut people up. Yeah.